Do not. Welcome to another episode of Decatur Dish. We're going to dive right into our interview portion with our special guest, DeKalb County Fire Chief Darnell Fullum. Chief Fullum, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great, Dan. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. We see each other more often than you might think because Chief Fullum and I frequent the same coffee shop, and so we're always bumping into each other in the mornings. And every time I see him, I'm like, Chief, come on my show. And he finally took me up on it today, so we're glad to have you. Chief, how long have you been the fire chief in DeKalb County? Refresh my memory on that.
Yes, Dan. So once again, glad to be here. I've been the chief now here in DeKalb County for 11 years. I started in 2014.
That is amazing. Did you start under Mike Thurman's tenure?
No, actually, at the time, it was Lee May. He was the interim CEO at the time.
That's right. Pay attention, folks. This gentleman has survived 3 different CEOs and is still in charge. That's usually a good thing in DeKalb County. It means you know what you're doing. Chief Fullum, you were in town today. You happen to be in the neighborhood because you're going to a conference on prep for the World Cup. Tell me what that's like. Tell me what the fire departments are looking for and how they're getting ready for what really is going to be the biggest event to happen in Atlanta since the Olympics in the 1990s.
Yeah, so it's an exciting time for Atlanta and DeKalb County, obviously, being so close, will be impacted by it. And so we're preparing for the World Cup, for FIFA. And the way that we're doing this is just through collaboration. Fire departments, we have a rich history of partnering together, and we'll all be prepared for whatever may happen.
Chief, what are the things that you're looking for? What are the risks that big events, we've had Super Bowls, we've had other big sporting events, March Madness has been through here, but this is going to be on an order of magnitude bigger than all of that. And even though it's going to be in Atlanta and at the Benz, we've got a watch party going on in Decatur. It's going to spill out into the bedroom communities here in Atlanta. So what kind of things are you looking for? What kind of risks does that pose, and how are we getting prepared for it?
Yeah, so it is so much different than what we have had here in Atlanta previously. We know these fans are fanatics. I mean, they truly are those that are well invested in their teams, coming from all around the world. And so what we're getting prepared for is just what we could expect outside the stadiums. You mentioned having watch parties, and we know some of those will occur in our area. And so what we need to be prepared for is maybe when they don't go as well as they should, so that we can respond to those appropriately.
Chief, remind me that DeKalb County Fire provides fire services for all of unincorporated DeKalb County, obviously, in some cities, but not all. Which cities in our county I know you provide it for Tucker and Avondale Estates. What other cities are you covering?
Yeah, Dan, you're exactly right. So we provide fire service for all of DeKalb County except for the city of Decatur and the portion of the city of Atlanta that's in DeKalb County. But all the other cities, the 11 other cities, the unincorporated area, we're providing fire service through 26 fire stations located throughout the county.
Because fire service is expensive. It's hard to keep that going. I wanted to point that out for our readers. Now, everybody knows the fire department responds to fires, right? What other services does the fire department provide that the public might not know about?
Yeah, actually, the majority of the calls that we're going to respond to any given year are going to be EMS calls. I'm often asked, why does a fire truck show up at my house when I ask for an ambulance? And that's because all of our firefighters are trained to the level of EMT at least. So we have the same equipment, we have the same training that you're going to find on an ambulance. We can provide that care immediately before the ambulance arrives. We also do many other areas. We do dive training, high-rise, confined space. We're at the airport. We provide the crash rescue there. So there's a multitude of disciplines that firefighters have to learn, and we're prepared to provide.
Do you save cats from trees? Is that still a thing? Are cats still getting stuck in trees in 2025? I don't know how this works.
Yeah, Cats do still get stuck in trees, and but we do find out that in most cases they will come down on their own. It's not always necessary for us to come and get them out of a tree. But when we do have those incidents that someone calls, we always are there to try to provide service.
People seriously call you about that? That's the thing?
They call us for that and many other things.
Wow. What are some of the other unusual things you get calls about?
Well, I think most people realize that in some cases the fire department is going to be the one who comes when there's no one else to come. And so the services that we provide, everything. I just heard the other day someone who had a ring stuck on their finger and couldn't get it off. They're calling us for those things. Now, I will say this too. What we are trying to do is stop folks for calling 911 when maybe it's not a true emergency, and that's an area that we really that we're challenged by and we're really working to correct. But we do get a multitude of calls.
That is fascinating. I'll try to limit my calls to DeKalb Fire to when something's burning. Speaking of that, in the summer, every holiday period poses unique risks. We're in the summer period. We're fixing to go into the holiday period. Maybe we could talk about that another time. What are the unique fire risks posed during the summer? I know sometimes we get these heat and fire watch advisories when it's really dry and windy out. It's been a pretty wet summer so far. What kind of risks are people running related to fire safety in the summer months, do you think?
Well, Dan, you mentioned one of them, and it's those outside fires that are going to occur. In DeKalb County, we do not want you burning outside. We have a very congested area, and so those fires that occur where people are burning grass, whatever it may be in their yards, oftentimes they get away from them, and then they're having to call the fire department. Also, I know people like to barbecue during the summer months, but just like we will ask you inside your house, always stay there, watch it, make sure that it doesn't get out of control. And then we just recently had the 4th of July. We saw, I believe, 3 fires that occurred during that day and into the night and into the next day that were caused by people not properly disposing of fireworks. And so these are the type of things that we experience that are a little different than what we may experience in the winter months.
You provide fire services for Avondale Estates, I know, and the city recently had to cancel its fireworks show for a fire safety reason. Do you know about that?
I do. I am aware of it. Yes.
Were you asked about your opinion about that, about where they could find safe launch sites? Was the fire department involved in the planning at all?
Yeah, so we were made aware of that they wanted to do it again, and as you know, Avondale Estates is not a very big city, not much space that hasn't been built upon, and so they did find it challenging to find a proper location to launch those fireworks. Obviously, you don't want to launch fireworks where then they can land on buildings or any other areas. And so we were advised of their decision. We were in agreement with it based upon the safety aspect.
DeKalb County adds people all the time. It might be starting to level off. If you check out the Wall Street Journal, they did an interesting article about growth in Atlanta. But the trend until this point has been growth, more townhomes, more apartments, denser living spaces, and taller buildings. That are going to be a drain on water and create traffic. Welcome to DeKalb. We're glad you're here. But I bring it up because it poses some unique challenges for the fire department. Talk to me about that. What challenges are created by growth and development, and how does the fire department get prepared for that?
Yeah, it's a great question. DeKalb County, I believe, is still the most densely populated county in the state. And so we don't have a lot of land to build on, so oftentimes it's replacing old buildings that may be there, and as you stated, we're starting to build up more. And so the challenges come for us in that in any time that it's new construction, first of all, we expect it to be up to date on its codes. And so in many ways that helps us because the latest codes are put in place for reasons. But we also recognize that that's more volume for us as far as calls. And so what we're doing now is building additional fire stations. I mentioned we have 26. We're adding 27 and 28. I hope in the near future we'll be adding Station 29 and 30. So what we're doing is adding more resources so that we can properly respond.
Where are those fire stations going?
So they're going out towards the east side of the county. If you think about DeKalb County, it in more than one way grew from the city limits outwards towards the east. And so those stations are located on the what would be our eastern portion of the county, where we're seeing basically the most growth.
Chief, you raise another great point when you talk about building more fire stations. That's going to require more personnel, right?
Exactly.
How much personnel are we talking about adding to the fire department?
So what we have right now is about 720 firefighter positions in the department. Right now our vacancy rate, I believe we're probably about 90 firefighters down. We have a class that's going to start in August and another one in November, so we're already hiring for those positions. But when you're adding not only fire stations, you're adding equipment as well. And so those are additional engines, additional trucks, the longer vehicles that you're seeing. So we're actually well ready to move forward with placing those crews. We got a grant that we started this year that was for firefighters, 30 firefighters paying the salary and benefits for those through a federal grant. So we're doing everything we can do to make sure that we're ready.
Chief, you got a second for a tangent? Something I'm curious about?
Yes.
Fire department is a unique job in that you're not always responding to fires. When you're a firefighter, there's a lot of downtime where you're just waiting for that call to come in. Obviously, in a busy county like DeKalb County, there's not maybe as much as other places. What do firefighters do with that downtime? What other jobs are they doing when they're not out responding to actual fires or EMS calls?
It's a great question. Oftentimes I'm asked that. What do the firefighters do when they're not responding to calls? So if you didn't know, firefighters work a 24-hour schedule. So they come in at 7 o'clock in the morning, they get off at 7 o'clock the next morning. So they're living basically 1/3 of their lives at work, at the station, responding to calls. But very specifically, what are they doing when they're not responding to calls? Part of that time is spent training. A lot of training goes on. We obviously want to train, be prepared for those calls that we'll respond to. There is downtime. If you go into our newer stations, you're going to see that we try to make it as comfortable a living environment for them as possible, so that once again, that time that they're spending in the stations, they're able to relax. They eat at the stations. Firefighters, I would love for you to come enjoy a firefighter meal. We have some great cooks, but they cook there as well. So you'll hear fire stations often called firehouses, and that's because they're there. They're spending their entire day there if they're not responding to calls.
Again, this is a total tangent, but I'm interested in managerial things. From a resource management perspective, you got personnel, they're at a station 24 hours. So are they working 2 days back to back, one 24-hour shift, one 24-hour off? 'Cause I assume a lot of these guys have a lot of these guys and gals have families, people that depend on them, that sort of thing. How do you manage that from a resource allocation perspective?
So they work a 24-hour shift on, and then they're off for 48 hours. And so they're off 2 days after being on one. And that work-life balance, which is so important these days, we recognize it. You know, we hope that they're spending those 2 days off, getting ready for the next shift. But as many people know, firefighters oftentimes work part-time jobs as well.
We hear a lot about staffing levels in the police department in DeKalb County and pay. We don't hear as much of that coming from the fire department. Where are the current staffing levels in the fire department, and are they where they need to be, and is the pay where it needs to be?
Yeah, so as far as the staffing, we really have been very fortunate, even through what I would consider some of the harder times and more challenging times, especially during COVID, that we saw people still coming and wanting to be firefighters, still wanting to serve, still wanting to help people. Where we see our issues today is more in retention. I believe that oftentimes folks will come, they'll join the fire department, and then they decide it's not for them. there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of other different jobs that they can go into. And so we're working on that retention, helping folks, first of all, make a good decision about joining the fire service, but then hopefully we maintain them. As far as the salaries are concerned, I'm very glad that the new administration under CEO Cochran Johnson, we're getting ready to do a pay class study. And we're really going to take a deep dive and look at where are we positioned as it relates to pay, not only in the metro area, but even further out.
Chief, I'm going to ask you a personal question, manager to manager. You manage a way larger team than anybody I've ever known. But you just seem unflappable. Every time I talk to you, you always got this level of calm. Is there something I can take for that? Like what are you tapping into there? Because I need to learn this myself.
Well, I appreciate that, first of all. I've been in the fire service now for 38 years. Obviously, not all of them spent at the higher level of management. But I recognize one thing, that if others see me sweat, if they see me frustrated in the moment, then it's easy for them to become frustrated in the moment. And so I just try to lead always from the front. I got great folks in the department that do outstanding work each and every day, and we try to stay focused on our mission.
Chief, thank you so much for joining us. As a personal note, I'm a reporter, and I hear complaints about everything in DeKalb County, and I've been covering Decatur area for 10 years. I hear complaints about sanitation. I hear complaints about police. I hear complaints about code. I hear complaints about county government. I could maybe count on one hand the number of times I've heard a complaint about our fire service in DeKalb County, and I think the fact that you've been through 3 different administrations now kind of speaks to the level of execution you've got going on over there. So as a resident, as a taxpayer, I mean, thank you for providing the level of service you provide to our community, and thank you to all the rank and file firefighters over there in DeKalb County who are putting their lives on the line for us every single day. We appreciate y'all, and thank you for joining us, and I hope you'll join us again, Chief.
Thank you for having me.
This is the Decatur Dish Show. We'll see you next Wednesday right here at 12:30 p.m. on A&F Plus. And that's the Decatur Dish Show. We tape every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. right here on Atlanta News First Plus. To check out episodes of this show, download the Atlanta News First app. To get all the latest news from DeKalb County, visit Decaturish.com. And to hear this show as a podcast, look for Decatur Dish wherever you stream your podcasts. See you next week.